Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Ask Me Anything. I'm your host, Adam, KN6QGV with Bridgecom Systems. Today, we're actually going to go over the next part. Yesterday, we went over the iPhone and setting it up with the SkyBridge. Today, we're actually going to set up your Android with the SkyBridge. And then we're actually going to go over some APRS transmit because we seem to be having a bunch of people calling in needing some help with setting that up or not understanding it completely. So we're going to go through that and help you guys understand APRS transmit today as well. All right, so we're going to start by welcoming a few people, and then we're going to jump right in. We got Bob, KB4NHB from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Welcome. We got Freddie, howdy, KD5FMU from Henrietta, Oklahoma. Okie in the house. Jeremy says hi. Richard, last night's winner. How you doing? KA3JCA from Simpsonville, South Carolina. Welcome, Richard. Kathy, hey, it's good to see you from Illinois. KB9NRX. Welcome, Kathy. We got Robert from Southwest Montana, KF7OBC. Welcome. We got Royce from Texas, KI5RYF. Welcome. We got Hugo from Quebec, Canada. Canada in the house. Nice. VE2UGO. That's pretty cool. That's a cool call sign. Welcome. Gills from Curano, Ontario, Canada. Huron, Ontario, VE3NPI. Welcome. Another Canadian. Nice to see some international folks here tonight. We got John in the house from Toronto, north of Toronto, actually. VA3GOC. Welcome. We got Barry, KB8BW. Welcome. Love that picture. Looks like you're having fun. We got Philip from Tennessee, KG4LTT. Welcome. Jeremy saying hi as well. All right. If you guys haven't already, I'm going to bring this up. On September 1st, we actually are having our DMR Master Class. If you guys have not signed up yet, please make sure you guys contact us and sign up for this. Go on our website, sign up. If you are a Bridgecom Plus member, you can attend this for free. So make sure you do call us and get your name on a list so that way we can reserve your seat. Seats are limited. We only have 200 seats totally available. We are, I think, about 120 or 125 seats already sold. So we're running out, guys. Get your seats now if you guys want to get into there. But we're going to be teaching you guys everything from walking you through what is DMR all the way to, some of the more advanced APRS and SMS and other features into your radio. So it's going to be a great course. If you guys haven't done it already, sign up. I look forward to seeing you guys there. I am teaching the course. All right. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to dive right into it. I'm going to switch over to my screen here. And let's minimize this right now. We're going to start on our PyStar right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to come over to our configuration area. And we're going to get ready to actually set up our hotspot on our cell phone to work with our SkyBridge. Now, I am plugged in with this, so I am connected through my wired network, and I can disconnect the wired network afterwards to show you guys it working. It's just easier for you guys to actually see the configuration because you guys wouldn't be able to see it on my cell phone. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down here to wireless configuration, and we're going to click on config Wi-Fi. And then now we're ready to hit scan network. What we're going to do is I'm actually going to switch back to me real quick. There we go. So you guys can see I'm going to slide down from the top. And as you're up here, we can actually just slide down again. And in most parts, oops, let's go this way. You guys can see down here, mobile hotspot right here. Sorry, it's a little blurry. So we're going to click on mobile hotspot, and that's going to enable it. Now, if you want to change the settings, you just hold down on it, and your settings will come up. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to configure mine, and I'm going to change my password right now to Bridgecom, just so you guys can see. Security Bridgecom. I'm going to save. And now what we're going to do is we're going to come back over to our screen, and we're going to scan for networks. Now, this will take about 10 seconds, 10 to 15 seconds. Once you guys see it populate, what we're going to do is we're going to come down this list. Oh, let's see. And we are going to look for, there it is, the Verizon one. We're going to click select. Now, this would work also for your Verizon hotspot or, you know, AT&T, your T-Mobile, whatever it may be. So I'm just typing in Bridgecom right here. We're going to go save and connect. Now this will take a minute. As you can see, it still says interface down. Don't worry about this. That's actually completely normal. What we're going to do now is we're going to come up to the top. We're going to go power, and we're going to click on reboot. Now, while this reboots and takes a minute to restart, you wanted to use a hotspot, same thing, just turn it into pairing mode or make it visible, connect that way, pair up. No matter what you do, if it's a cell phone, a hotspot, you know, your Wi-Fi network at home, you're going to want to always do this reboot afterwards. This reboot actually reinitializes the system. And the reason why you have to do this is when the device starts up, it goes and it starts up the wired network. Then it does the Wi-Fi network. It looks for every Wi-Fi network in order that is in your saved Wi-Fis. Then if it can't find any of those, it starts its own Wi-Fi known as Pi-Star. So you can actually find this network. Now, this network is going to be a lifesaver if you have any issues. Now, when this comes back up, I'll show you at the bottom. There's two options down there. If you ever happen to lock yourself out, make sure your device starts up, not connected to any networks, and you'll be able to connect right in and fix all your problems. Now, any second now, we should be refreshing. And it should say we are connected. Give it about another 10 seconds here. We should be good. And there we go. So we're going to come over to configuration. And now you guys can see down here, interface is up, we are connected. Now at the bottom here, there are two options. Now the auto AP I was talking about is right here, Pi-Star. So if there is no Wi-Fi network and it can't do anything, it comes to here and automatically starts this network. There is no password. If you want a password, you could set that right here. This Pi-Star right here, the username for remote access, this is for SSH and for accessing this web interface. So that is that password down here. I don't recommend changing either of these for two reasons. One, security reasons on the back end. You ever need to manually update your device, change something, you forgot it. That's number one. Number two, we get a lot of calls from people changing this and then going, I don't remember the password. There's no point in changing these passwords. You're more than likely 99.9% guaranteed going to be the only one who ever accesses that device unless you show someone else how to access it or what to do with it. No one even knows it's there. So just keep that in mind. There's no need to set either of these, but if you are someone who wants to set your own passwords, you have everything, you know what your password's going to be, go right ahead, set them right here. But we don't recommend it. Just want to put that out for you guys. All right. Now that we have done this and we showed you guys how to connect that, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to bring up our CPS here. We're going to start with going over, and I'm going to repeat this, the APRS settings. Once again, these are the settings for your APRS. Just because we set these does not mean APRS is then enabled. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to come through here, and this is a fresh configuration that we've been building. So we're going to come here, the manual interval. What this is when you push the push to talk. So let me switch over to me real quick. Now, if you guys can see me right here, when you push the push to talk right here, the radio's off, but when you push this push to talk, that will send it. However, it will only send on the channels you have configured to work with APRS. Now, we will go over that, and I will show you guys how to configure those channels for APRS, but we're going to go over the basic settings here. Now, this APRS auto would be your auto beaconing. Now, the way I like to do these settings are, I like this to be low. I like this to be around 5. But a lot of people don't. I like to keep this at 30. Now, one of the main reasons that I like to do this is because usually when I have my APRS broadcasting like this, it's doing some kind of training exercise, maybe search and rescue, CERT, whatever it may be. I like to keep track and have that, and I think it's a better practice, especially for other people. If you ever are in an emergency and someone needs to find you, they have a record of where you're at. So that's always a bonus, especially when you're working in public safety or a first responder or anything of that nature. It's also good if you're camping, out with friends, ATVing, any number of activities out and about. It's a great feature to have on as well. Support for roaming, we're going to keep off. Fixed location, we want off. Now, some of this might be grayed out for you. If that is grayed out, what I'm going to do here actually is close that window. 2 things we want to do. 1, we want to go up to tools here, options, and we want to make sure that all of these are checked. Okay. The second thing, all right, we want to do is we want to come to optional settings. We're going to go to GPS. And sometimes when you change this to on, it'll unlock it on that page. I have noticed that. For me, it wasn't locked there. For sometimes I've noticed when we start up or have new configurations, you can't change fixed beacon off because GPS is not getting your position. So you have to make sure it always gets your position. Now, we are going to go over those optional settings afterwards here in a second. I personally like feet, and I like to have my display time to the longest possible, not infinite, but 15 seconds before it goes away. We can skip this box as we are not using a fixed location. Personally, the TX tone for APRS, I turn it off. It's annoying. It's a pain in the butt. I don't like it. Alpha Papa, Alpha Tango 81 is the 2 call. That's the code for it. And the -1 here is actually telling the system how to process your packets. There are different codes for different things. -1 is the one that works best, and it's the one that works with APRS for your location. Next, we're going to come in here. We're going to put in our call sign. So mine is KN6QGV. -8 works. This is just an identifier for you. So when you actually go to a site like aprs.fi, you will be able to actually put in there and you can actually see your identifier afterwards. So you can tell that that's that radio and you are using analog. All right, we are going to choose the APRS symbol right here of // and we are going to use an ampersand. The and symbol is going to be a person. Now, if you are in a vehicle on a 578, something like that, you can go up and look up some of the other APRS map icons, and you can actually change that symbol right there, and it will change it appropriately. All right, we're going to come over here to transmit delay. We're going to go to 600. Subtone off. We're going to come down here, pre-wave to 600. We're going to go transmit power to turbo. Okay. For the digi repeater path, we're going to go wide 1-1, comma, wide 2-1. Not 2-2, 2-1. Down here, you can leave whatever message you want. So I check all of these. You don't have to. Now, if I had a bigger screen, I'd move this so I can actually show you what each one of these, when you click on one of these, it brings up a description right back here for what everything does. So if you're not sure of a description on something, you can always click on the field and the description will be actually right here in the background. Now, I do apologize. I am zoomed in so much on my screen so you guys can see this well and clearly that it does block that, but you will be able to see it on your screen. Now, since we are in the US, at least North America, we're going to go with 144.39. Now, we are working on compiling a list of all the different analog APRS frequencies for around the world. So, you know, we will work on getting you guys some of those information, but as of right now, we do not have that yet. We are just starting to build that list. Pass all, I like to keep on because I like to receive even the broken packets. This actually helps you also debug and help other people with their APRS if they're having issues. So that is another thing we want to do. Now we're going to come up here to digital. Now, I always do current channel, current slot. And we are 310999, private call. That is for the United States. Every country has its own first 3-digit code. Make sure you check your 3-digit code for your country so that way it's appropriate. And 999 afterwards is the APRS server. Okay, so now when we have all these set, we're going to click on OK. And now that just because the settings are set does not mean APRS is now going to magically broadcast. Okay, one thing I like to do as we come into optional settings, I like to automatically turn on GPS. So when my radio turns on, GPS is automatically on. It gets my position and it automatically starts to do the APR, gets ready to do APRS. It won't start broadcasting unless I'm on a channel that will do APRS. Now I am -7 right now, so I'm going to go to my proper code. Now here is where you'll see it in the US system or international metric. Since we are in the US, I'm going to choose inches, GPS template off, GPS mode. We are actually going to set just to GPS. These are 2 different modes and different other things. We will get into a full description on this, but as of right now, we just want to leave it on GPS, and we're going to leave GPS roaming off. A few other things we want to double check always. We want to make sure that these, oh, look at that. One of these is on. We want to make sure these last 4 are off. Otherwise, you'll get locked out of your radio. You won't be able to use your keypad, the knobs, whichever one may be on, and then it's gonna cause you guys a little bit of a headache. So that's one thing I like to always check. Display, talker alias. I always like to turn on talker alias. So we come here, call sign based, and we're going to click OK. Now to finish talker alias, we are going to come over here to talker alias settings, and we're going to tell it we want ISO 8 with air alias. So this way it grabs the alias from over the air. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to come to this channel, Skywolf we called it. This is actually the talk group that we do, 319-1329, that we talk to people on. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to come over here to APRS report type. Now, if this was an analog channel, I would want to do an analog APRS. Now, you could do an analog APRS here as well. But I prefer digital. I like digital APRS. I think it's a little bit more accurate. There's a little bit more functionality and stuff in there. But analog also works, because what happens is when you're right here and you're actually on it, now what we're doing is we're setting the beaconing. Every 30 seconds or whatever you set your beacon to, it's going to try to either transmit over the digital network that I'm connected to repeater, or it's going to try and hit a analog digi repeater if I'm in analog mode. So that is how you will actually broadcast out. You will not actually create a channel. Oh, I need to do analog APRS, so I'm going to put in a frequency of the analog channel. It's going to try and have the analog channel and then pull up the analog channel as well. Doesn't work. You have to put it on a channel that you're actually using for something else to broadcast out your APRS. You don't have to have the channel actually push to talk and keyed up to anything. It just has to be active on that channel. So we're going to continue like this, digital. Now in digital, we have on for right here for push to talk. This means when you push the push to talk, it's going to do it. Now we'll only do it once every X amount of time, whatever we set in our manual interval. I set it to 5. Most people like to set it to 30. You could choose whatever you would like. Now what we're going to do, so I like to have that on. And then here's the digital reporting channel to 1. Now, if we had an analog setup, it would be analog here. Push to talk, you can either do it at the start of the transmission or the end of the transmission. And then you also can set your frequency that you're on right here. So we set number 1 has to be 144.39, so we're going to want to choose 1 here. Now, for the purpose of this, I'm just going to set it up to digital because that's how I like it. Turn this on. And 1, alto. Now that's set. If I was to write this to the radio, make sure you select your COM port first if you haven't already. Zone can't be empty. There, see, look at that. Alrighty. So we're going to come back to me. We're going to wait for the radio to start up. And then I'm going to show you. Might take a minute because I'm going to have to get my GPS signal and whatnot, but it should say APRS transmitting. Now, if you guys have questions, let's start getting those questions going so we can answer those here coming up. Just double checking to make sure it's on. So I'm just in GPS right now, making sure GPS is on, which it is. Just double checking the upload type, which it says digital. So there we go. Now, since it does not actually have my position, it's not red, it won't actually broadcast out my APRS right now. So we're going to wait a little bit, see if we can get that, and then I can maybe show you guys that again with the actual signals showing my location. Now, let's start taking some questions. I have an Anytone D878 UV2 Plus, just trying to figure out how to enter a standard offset. Are you doing, I apologize. Are you doing it from the front panel or are you trying to do it from the actual CPS? Because in the CPS here, what we're going to do is to set the offset between the channels. All we do is put the offset in the frequency here. So if we wanted to offset it, 441 or 451. I think it's +5 on that, or 4, yeah, 6, yeah. 451 if we did +5. So that's how you would do it, the offset. The correct frequency here is not the offset. In the radio, I do know it says offset in there. That is not your offset in there. This is only in little hertz. This is actually if the radio starts to bleed a little bit, we can set it back on there, on track. That's all that is. Do not try to set your frequency split in the current frequency hertz in there. Now from the front panel, we're going to come down to settings. Oh, wait, let me put my screen up. I do apologize. We're going to come to Settings, Channel Set. We're going to come down. And as you see offset here, we do not set anything in here. We leave this as 0. We come down to Receive Frequency, set our first one. Oops, meant to push this one. Then we come down to Transmit Frequency, and you type in the new frequency here. Then you hit Confirm. There we go. Just trying to get it focused for you guys. And that's how you would do the split on your radio. I recently unboxed my UV 578 UV. It's 3. I read the code plug and a different firmware update. Now I'm stuck there, stuck with mode 3. What do I do next? Actually, John, I'm actually going to have you call us up just because that's a little bit too much to explain here, and we actually need to go back and forward to help you fix all of that. So if you would like to call us up tomorrow, I'm actually going to put up the number. And if any of you guys have any tech support needs or any issues with anything in amateur radio, please give us a call, 636-264-8325. Once again, 636-264-8325. I picked up some amateur radios with some other items that were in a lot. There are 3 ICOMs 24 dual band radios, 2 are ICOM 24 AT, and 1 was an ICON 24. It's not branded or at RET. Is this one of a kind? That's a good question. I think it's actually a base model, if I'm not mistaken. It's probably, yeah, now that I think about it, it's going to be a base model from the ICOMs. They just added the AT when they added more features and changed it and upgraded it a little bit. It's a good question. You almost stumped me there. I have been able to mount the super code plug in the CPS. It appears that it is now complete. I need a set of frequencies for my hotspot or local DMR repeater. Correct. So as you can see on my screen here, I actually am using, whoops, let me just close this. I'm using 446.55. Now, if I was to minimize this and come over to my hotspot, you'll notice right here, the frequency that's in there is 446.55. So yeah, in order to complete it, all you need is the frequencies of either the repeater you're going to use or the hotspot, and it should work. Just make sure it is a local DMR repeater that does support Brandmeister and is on all the does support all the talk groups. That's a good question. When is the Bluetooth microphone for the 578 coming out? Can't wait to mount mine in the back of the truck. You and me both, Johnny boy. For those of you who don't know what he's talking about, you guys can get your name right now if you wanted to call up and get your name on a waiting list. This is what he's talking about. We have a new product coming out in fall. They are working on a few little things, and then once we get it, we will be having this available for purchase. And we are looking hopefully November. It's like your Anytone little 878 here, but it's a Bluetooth mic that connects directly to your 578. So you can put your 578 in your trunk, underneath your seat, wherever you have room, and it's going to make it a lot more convenient to actually utilize that in your vehicle. So if you haven't already, make sure you get your name on the waiting list for that and call up our representatives. After enabling APRS and GPS, is it correct that these must be turned off when you perform a firmware update or serious problems can be created? Yes. This can cause either radio problems or problems with your computer. And the reason is when it sends those bursts of packets and other things, it will, and you're plugged in, it will send that data out actually over the cable and not out over the top properly. And you can fry your computer, or it could screw up the writing of the firmware to your radio and actually cause it to corrupt in the process and brick your radio. So make sure you guys do turn off your APRS and GPS before you do any type of updates? That's an amazing question. Thank you for bringing that up. Still no GPS lock, and that's probably because I'm inside here in the middle of the house and not near a window. I do apologize. Nope. No, I think we did that. Okay. Can I add a new DMR repeater and have access to all my talk groups in my code plug without having to create a new channel for each talk group? Yeah, it could get a little confusing, Richard, but it is entirely possible. Now, I know we're going to get a million calls on this from people messing up their radios by doing this. So for you guys, close your ears. Richard, what you're going to do is you're actually going to hit the list button right here, and this will bring up, I only have 2 talk groups in here, a list of all your talk groups, and you can just swipe through whichever ones you want, go to select, come down to select contact, and then boom, there you go. How soon will the replay of this program tonight be available? Immediately right after this show. It's going to go right up on there live, and as soon as we close it, it makes it available for everyone. Actually, I believe you can even, in the live, go back and watch further back. So it'll be readily available as soon as we hit end broadcast here in a little bit. On analog APRS, has relay been antiquated in the valid path? Yeah, I haven't seen any of those in a while. I know WIDE 2-1 and WIDE 1-1 are the main ones that do it. And every instruction manual, all the sites I go to now, everything on APRS, all documentations only say the WIDE 1-1 and 2-1. I'm still looking into seeing, because I've seen old documentation have that, but I haven't seen it working anymore. So I'm looking into, I can look into that a little bit more for you. That's a great question. I love these APRS questions. Yeah, I deep dove it. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of information. If you guys want to go deep dive into it, I suggest it. You know, go search Google, search Bing, search your favorite web browser. You know, go in there and check it out. It's a lot of capabilities. You could do SMS. There's text. You know, so you got texting between radios. You got texting between cell phone to radios. We even showed that. We also got, you know, there's weather and GPS and a whole bunch of other things that are in there. And APRS is a lot of fun. It's an interesting little system within everything. Would you love your advice on hackaday.com project I'm working on? Look up Boondock Echo. Okay, well, Mark, what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you call me up or message me or something, email me, and we'll look at that and I'll check it out and we'll see what we can do on that. Is there a way to change the talk group frequencies at once instead of individually? No. We feel your pain. That's all I can say is I feel your pain. Well, you know, we wish there were some other ways and better things to do, but it's one by one right now. What is the Brandmeister API used for and how is it set up? Actually, I could show you right now on my screen. So what we'll do is we'll come over here. I'll show you it set up, but not actually how to set it up in this. We do have a video on that. And you can go through that and see this, but what this does is this actually brings up this Brandmeister little API thing right here. Now, maybe next week I'll do a video on that because I do need, as you saw in my main thing, that I need to update mine. So we can go on that setup next week. But what you do is say you want to add a talk group, a static talk group. So say we want to add 91, we can do add, modify, boom. Now what's going to happen is you're going to see this go up there. 91's already a static talk group up here. So you see it up here, 91. Now say we wanted to remove 91. We can come here go delete, modify. And now 91 will be removed when you see this refresh. Now 91 is removed from up here. So all it does is it allows me to control the static talk groups. It also allows me to drop the current person talking. So if you wanted to push that disconnect, you're pushing this button and then you're trying to disconnect and oh, you guys can't even see me. You're trying to push the top button right here and you're trying to get your disconnect screen up and you're trying to key up and you can't. That could get really annoying. So what I'd like to do sometimes is just click drop QSO right here and that'll drop the current person talking. You could send it through. Now, if you want to drop all dynamic, this will drop all dynamic and drop that call as if the timer went out on it. You can also remove it if it's a static one right here. And you select which time slot you want to do. Since we're in simplex mode, time slot 2 is the only one. However, if I go to a different hotspot of mine, that one actually has both time slots available. And that one I can choose either one. All right. My local DMR repeater uses talk groups other than Brandmeister. How do I enter them? You would actually come over to your CPS. So let's open up our CPS here real quick. You would just come over here to digital. We're going to go to digital talk group. And then we'll just double click over on an open one, put in the name and the ID. Now, some talk groups might be matched between them. Some of them are going to be different. Now, I know you have Parrot here. I have Parrot here for 9999, but a lot of networks use Parrot and they spell it with 2 T's. So that's how I do the difference in mine. And I go 9998 because that's what it usually is. So that's one way I distinguish between the two Parrots and different things. But you can also add a tag in front. So say, you know, they are using talk group, I don't know, 4125, let's just say. You could say this is TGIF, whatever, or you could say, you know, whatever network it is, or however you want to put it in there as a little tag in front. You know, DMR Plus, you know, whatever it may be. BM for Brandmeister, so on and so forth. Should I set up my mobile hotspot on my phone first before I set up my connection to my Wi-Fi? Yes, James. I always set up to your cell phone before you actually set up to your home Wi-Fi. And the reasoning behind this, everyone, is that if you set up to your home Wi-Fi first and you go out to your car and you still have a signal from your home Wi-Fi, your car and your cell phone, even though it's on, won't get that connection. If you do your cell phone first, it's never on, almost never on unless you're in the car or something. So it's always going to bypass that network and then go to your primary home network because, you know, it can't find your cell phone network or your cell phone hotspot. The opposite is not true. If it can find your home network, it's not going to go to your cell phone hotspot. So you need to make sure that whatever networks you want as your primaries to go first. So cell phone being that, because if you're out and about, you want to make sure that's what grabs the attention first of your device. And is it better to keep an Ethernet cable connected to the SkyBridge to the router, or does it not matter? I preferably always prefer an Ethernet cable to the router or to my switch. And the reason being is that a wired connection is always going to have a lot better and lot less latency and interference than a wireless signal will. Nowadays, wireless Wi-Fi 6 will only go about 300, 400 megs, while a wired connection can go 1,000, 10, 1,000, which is gigabit. So it's always going to have a stronger connection, less latency, and a better reliability on a wired network than you will over wireless. All right. Well, we were coming up to that time, and we've been up for a while. And I do appreciate everyone coming out tonight, this evening. Now, if you guys haven't done so already, please make sure you like and subscribe down below. Hit that bell to get notified when we go live. And also, if you guys haven't done so, please sign up for this workshop. There are limited seats left. I am teaching this. I would love to see all of you guys there. We are actually going to do this in an actual interactive Zoom conference. So you will actually be able to share your screen, talk with us, and it's not going to be just a question where you have to type it. We can actually see what you're talking about and help you walk through some of the issues you guys might experience during this journey of becoming masters at DMR. Now, on behalf of myself, everyone at Bridgecom, I want to say 73, and I hope you guys have a fantastic evening.